minorities, LGBTQ, saints, Christians, Americans, transhumanists. Okay, so in the Christian way of things, you're asked to be a trans, to transform into a God. In the Bible, it says, you are born into sin. Your desires are carnal. You just completely obey your body. But that's no fun. That's no fun to just obey your body. Your body is pretty simple. It just wants sleep, sex, and food. And those are fine, but they're not all that we're capable of. We're actually capable of having our spirit have control. And that's the trans. So it's interesting, isn't it, that we've gotten rid of Jesus. So society has gotten rid of the Bible. We've stomped on it. We've made it illegal for the doctrines of heaven to be here. And now what's being promoted by society is change, but it's always just change of the body. It's not change of the spirit. And this is why we're living in a living hell. And this is why it can be confusing for so many believers and even non-believers. But these times were foretold by the book of Revelation. So we have trans, cisgender, all that stuff. And what Jesus was all about was like, I want you to change. So he's speaking to those who want to be like him, and for those who want to live in heaven with God. That's the whole point, people. The whole point of being in heaven is you're with God. And so in order to be with God, you have to be transformed. You have to obey laws, and you have to read the scriptures. You have to pray to God. It's very spiritual work. You have to serve. You have to forgive people. You have to help the homeless. You have to do things that you're not doing now. So when a person gets a sex change or transitions, and that's what it's called, you're transitioning to a new creature. I'm just referencing a scripture word there. As you're transitioning, you become more holy, you become more loving, you have more peace, you are less angry, and you just love God more, and you appreciate the world more anyway. So we have transhumanism, we have transsexual. At the transsexual, that's an interesting thought. There used to be this reparative therapy where they would literally try to pray the gay away, stuff like that, And maybe it worked for some people, maybe it didn't work for others. I think the reparative therapy, I think some of that was really bad. Like they would shock people's genitals and stuff. But there are cases of Christians who, through prayer and fasting and faith and desire, ended up having opposite gender attraction. So they went through a transition. And so that's kind of interesting. I think that makes sense for those who are gay. Like, in other words, like a guy feels like he is a male, but he just desires a female, or a male, excuse me. And so, with someone who feels like they're a male, as far as their appearance, but they feel like a female in reality, this is completely different. This is a whole new ballgame. But there is a relation, or there is a similarity between that and between religious people. Between, okay, so like let's say you're a Christian and you're lazy, or you get angry at people, or you criticize. You just can't stop criticizing your wife. You can't stop being angry at how people are, and you want them to change. And every time you talk to them, you're like, well, here's where you need change. So on the outside, you're kind of mean and critical, but you don't feel like that in the inside. On the inside, you feel like you're a kind person. And you want to transition. You want to be, and you might even tell people, I feel like I'm kind in reality. And there are these two types of people in the world. And I'm just saying there needs to be respect for Christianity, because we really are spirits. There really is a heaven. And I know heaven can be legislated away. We do have that power. Humans, think about it. We really do have the power to physically get rid of the spiritual. That's kind of interesting to think about. Like the Jews and the Romans, they had the physical power to kill our spiritual God. They had the power to kill the person who has the power over you spiritually. Like, he is the person that can help your spirit. So, in society, we say, there's some people who they feel like they're a man in a woman's body. And that's fine. And we want to help them. But what about, but then you have Christians. What about the Christians? What about the people who they feel like spiritually they want to change and obey what is called God's commandments, and they want to change. They want to change their spiritual gender. Well, maybe not spiritual gender. They want to change their outwardness to match the inwardness. So inwardly they feel like they're a saint. Like, I feel like I have a connection to God. I feel like the Bible's true. I feel like heaven's real. And I want to change. I want to become a good person and qualify. And I want to become a saint. And maybe part of that means defending the family. Maybe part of that means preaching the word and reading the Bible and going to church and serving others. And that's what we need. We need to protect Christianity. Society needs to allow for the spiritual. Physically, you might have same-sex attraction. Physically, you might feel like a woman trapped in a man's body. But what about spiritual things? What about heaven? What about people who believe in heaven and believe in Jesus, that he is our spiritual king? Is spirituality not legal anymore? Is heaven illegal? Have we legislated heaven